times x because my common factor is 4. This negative is what changed both of those when I showed that multiplication. So this is 4 times x minus 4 times 3/4. Bring down your negative 4x. This is going to become a negative 1. Bring down your 4x. And this is going to become a negative 3. Does everybody agree with what I have? Does everybody agree with what I have? Now what are you going to do? Subtract 4x from both sides. This is going to give you negative 8x minus 1. This is going to give you 0 minus 3. Now what are you going to do? Add 1. Negative 8x, because that goes to 0, is equal to what? Negative 2. X is going to be a positive 1/4. Okay, you got to check it because it's an absolute value. How are you going to check it? Well, go back to the original. We put in the 1/4. 1/4 plus 1/4 is 2/4, so 1/2. Absolute value of 1/2 is 1/2. You agree with that? 1/4 minus 3/4 is a negative 2/4. Absolute value of a negative 2/4 is 1/2. So your solution set, and I haven't been showing that on these we've been doing up here. You need to show solution set for an answer, okay? Is 1/4. Now, I know there was one of them that some of you guys were working on in class the other night. You came out with 3 different answers. You checked it in the back of the book, and there was only 2 of them. What did you forget to do? Check all 3 of them in the original. And 2 of them checked, and 1 of them didn't. Was that number 17? Okay. So anybody that hasn't worked 17 yet, I want you to try it on your own before we actually look at it. Any others? 17 through 31 odd on that page, or every other odd?
25.
25? For 25, you've got a negative. Absolute value of 6x plus 1 is equal to 11. What's the first thing I told you always have to do? Get the absolute value as the only thing over there by itself. Is it by itself now? What's in front of it? Negative 1. And that means negative 1 is related to it how? Addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. Multiplication. It's like having a negative 1 out here in front of it, so it's a multiplication. To get rid of that negative, we divide both sides by negative 1. That becomes absolute value of 6x plus 1, which is what I was looking for, is equal to a negative 11. Now what are you going to do?
6x plus 1 equals, wait, yeah, never mind.
All right, what are you telling me you're going to do then if you're saying never mind?
Can you just bring it down though?
That's not
Since you already
possible.
have
You wouldn't add on both sides.
That's not
right?
possible.
I didn't add it, I divided it.
Well, why wouldn't you add on both sides? Since it's
What am I adding?
Well, you said it would be a negative 1.
It's equal to.
But if it's in front of it, it means multiplication.
It's,
No solution.
that's not possible.
Not possible, why?
Because it's equal to
You
negative.
got to equal
Because you
two
got a
negatives, all you
negative.
got to do now is tell me that.
Take a shot.
Oh, it's way more.
She was waiting for me to get to the point. Okay, if you've got a negative in front of an absolute value, that means you're multiplying by negative 1, just like if you had this. The only difference is, for absolute values, you don't cross that line. You got to take this like it's a multiplication and move it to the other side by doing division. Okay? If it is a parentheses, yes, you use your distributive property and go ahead and multiply it so you can collect like terms and get rid of the parentheses. But for absolute values, you got to get that absolute value by itself, so a negative in front of it means it's being multiplied by negative 1 to get it by itself, you got to do the opposite, which is divide. Okay? All right. Inequalities. What's the only additional step you got to worry about when you're solving an inequality versus solving an equation? That's a linear inequality. When you multiply or divide both sides by a negative, what do you do with the inequality sign?
What, reverse it?
You've got to reverse it. Otherwise, you're doing the same thing. This is for your linear equations compared to linear inequalities. Linear equations, the only thing you're doing is trying to get everything to the other side. So I've got a variable term over here that I can get down to one of that x or one of that y. So you're always doing the opposite operation. If what you have there is being added, you're going to subtract. What you have is being multiplied, you're doing division, and so forth. Now, inequalities are done the exact same way with one exception. The only way the inequality can remain a true statement with a legitimate possible solution is when you multiply or divide both sides by a negative. At that step, you must reverse the inequality sign, or else it's invalid from that point on. Now, keeping that in mind, when you looked at problems 1 through 12, every other odd or every odd, whichever you were working on, do we need to go over any one of those?
Number 5.
Number 5, okay. Number 5, we have -2, parentheses, (3 minus x) less than -2x. Now, you're told in your instructions, describe your solution once you find it, using interval notation and also using graphing. So you're supposed to write your answer in 2 formats. All right, here again, we're still doing the same thing. I don't have any like terms here, so order of operations, clear a few parentheses first, can't do anything inside. Move to the front, that's -2 times the whole parentheses, so from your distributed property, do your multiplication. You get a -6 plus 2x is less than a -2x. Now what are you trying to do? Get all the x's together on one side and everything else to the other. Well, since I've got just a 2x over here, I'm going to take that one over there with it. It's added, so I do the opposite. This is going to leave me with a -6 less than, what am I going to have over here? A -4x. Remember, we're adding. Now, I want 1x out of this. I've got -4 times x. So my next step tells me I have to divide this by -4. Now, as soon as I recognize I'm dividing by a negative, what do I do with this? You've got to flip it over. You've got to switch it. And you got -6 divided by -4. This reduces to my x. That's now become a greater than sign. And these two, division by like signs is positive, and this is 3/2. Now what do you say? 3/2 is bigger than x. So when you look at it on your number line, where's 3/2?
Between 1 and 2.
Where's your 3/2 going to be?
Between 1 and 2.
Between 1 and 2. Okay, so we'll make a mark here and call that our 3/2, or if you want to label it 1.5, that's good too. Okay, now, do we include the 3/2? No, because you don't have an equal to. But you put an open circle here. Now, which is bigger, the 3/2 or the x? The 3/2. Remember, you got the mouth open to the big one. Okay? So if this has got to be the biggest, it's got to be as far as you go to the right. So the x's have to be everything to the left of it. So it's going like this. That's the way it would look on your number line. Now,